Okay, so we're going to pick up where we left off last time. We've got our background texture that still needs a bit of work, and we've got our binary suns, which has got a nice texture to contrast the background. However, we're still a long way from completion, so I've taken the liberty of creating a finalized version of what we're looking to achieve. Okay, you may be saying that I've cheated, and you're probably right, but what I tend to find is I need to make sure that I can go through the full process, that Canva allows me to do what I need to do to get from A to B before I can actually train and teach it. So with a lot of these chapters, I tend to have a go once through. If I can make it work, then I'm comfortable providing it as a training exercise. So that's where we're at the moment. And we're going to look to recreate this type of poster as part of the remaining parts of this module. So if we jump ahead, we can see that we've got a number of different outline shapes of landscape, and that's what we're going to start with. We're going to build up those. If we deconstruct this particular poster, in fact, what I can do is duplicate the page, and then we can tear this version apart. So we can see it's made up of a number of frames and lines. So we've used a few lines where frames can't do what we need, but it's quite simple in terms of just building it up, simple layers at a time, and then we can apply different textures within those frames. So you can see that we've got the texture inside the frame by double clicking on it. And then we've got just them layered over each other until we get an effect that we're really happy with. Part of what we're aiming to do is take it from this to a finished composite. So I'm going to start with the landscape. And we're going to be searching for textures and frames a lot. So if I go to a previous search for frames, obviously you'll need to type it in if you haven't searched more recently. And then have a flick down through. So we can see one here, which has got that rough, almost torn paper type effect. That's probably not as dramatic as we need. And we've got a lot to sift through. So there's a lot of choice here for frames, and we're going to need quite a few. Although I think we've gone past the ones we're looking for. So I'm just going to jump back up through and see if we can find that ground texture effect. So there's a torn paper effect here that could do the job. So I'm going to start with that one, and I'm going to take it off the bottom of the page. And that's going to give us our frontline slope. It's not going to be identical. Whenever I recreate one of these graphics, there will always be subtle differences between them. I could, again, cheat and just copy and paste that across, but that wouldn't be much of a tutorial. I've got this frame ready to go, and now we can go back into our search box, search for stone texture. And we've got a number of different options here. Potentially, because this is going to be the foreground image, I want something which has got a little bit of depth to it, so it's not just a solid, flat texture. So we want something that's got that, just that shading on the edge. We might go for something like this and see if we can add some color into it afterwards. So that could make a nice little effect. So once we've added the shape in, we can then go in and edit it. So we've got the photogenic effects that we could apply, which will add a hint of color. So you can either flick through there or go on to see all. That's what I was saying about having a bit of depth there. So we can see already that it's given it a bit of shade. So I'm going to go with that option. I could apply a duotone effect on as well. So once again, I could go to something like Coral or Dawn. And I go with Dawn. And now I can change, say for example, the highlights and shadows to give it a little bit more impact. There's no right or wrong answer with this. It's a case of what looks right. Also a case of having a bit of fun playing around with different color effects, different textures and patterns to make an interesting composition. Now we've got those in place, I'm going to click apply. I often forget to click apply and we end up with more challenges. Let it update. Sometimes I found when creating this version that when I was adding so many different textures and layers, Canva started to slow down because we're really pushing it to its limits. So what I tend to find is the best approach to that is just to jump back out of it, close the tab, and then reopen the graphic. It saves every few seconds, so you shouldn't lose anything, and always check that it says all changes saved. But we're working okay at the moment, so I'm going to then finally go to the adjustments options. So I can bring down the brightness, so I want that nice contrast. If you followed the Pixelhaze principles of design, it's the yin-yang, it's the high contrast and balance between elements is so important. I'm quite happy with that. It looks quite different to the previous example. I really like the texture. So I'm going to leave it there. We may come back when we see everything else in place and start tweaking it again. To wrap up this part of the tutorial, we're going to add in maybe these two shapes here. Try some additional keywords to see if I can narrow down the frame. The keyword search on Canva is okay, it's not amazing. And as we've seen from there, we're not really getting anything. Maybe if I look into graphics, will I get anything? No, so I'm just going to go back to a main frames search. Now we've got one here. Right at the top, I must have missed that last time. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just get it to the size I want. I might decide to actually rotate this top frame as well. To get it on slightly steeper terrain. Make it more dramatic. And then I'm going to drop this into position. As long as I've got the bottom of that frame below the bottom point where it drops down here, we're absolutely fine. And now I can send it backwards. So a shortcut that I'd recommend remembering is Control and the left square bracket. Sometimes you'll have issues selecting the frame. Especially for now, I'd recommend just having it so that there's a slight overlap so you know where you can grab that, so you don't have to constantly move this frame to the background and keep shifting the orders to select, but sometimes you need to do that. It's not completely flush behind it. We can still grab that corner. Go back, we'll pick another stone texture now, something a bit different. And drag it into that top corner so it goes into that background layer. So this is already a rougher terrain. So now I've moved it down, you can see that the other layers come out in front of it. So I'm just Control and left square bracket, just moves it behind to allow us to select this top layer. Again, go into Edit Image. Red sandstone effect in the background. I'm going to apply a certain amount of duotone on it as well. Just to flatten it a little bit. But what I'm going to do now is go into this and just take the intensity down, because I want to keep some of that variance and texture in there, but just tone it down a little bit. Click Apply. And now I can move that shape to the background. You'll find that I'm constantly playing around with various effects on here to give it that depth that we're after. There's a little bit more working to do on it. If we again compare it to this one, there's more similarity between each of the tones here. But once we've got everything in place, we can start tweaking the colors just to tie them in. I quite like that's a deeper, richer color to really set the foreground. A little bit too much detail in here at the moment. That's some good progress. We're now starting to take shape, one shape or frame at a time.